Namaskar. Welcome to day 19 of 100 yoga days of my journey towards a celebration of International Day of Yoga, which I will be celebrating with you all from the Times Square, New York on 21st of June 2026. Now, hello, Pavitra, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I want to tell you a little bit about my 100 days journey. Every year from March 14th, I begin a 100-day Satvik Yoga, the Satvik Yogi path, the journey toward the International Day of Yoga. But this year, I chose to revisit Yog Sutra, Maharshi Patanjali's Yog Sutra, and share my daily practices inspired by it. So, once again, welcome to day 19 of the Satvik Yogi Path. Yesterday, we explored Viram pratyaya, the natural pause of the mind. Today, we move into a different doorway into steadiness. Yoga Sutra 1.19 talks about those who enter deep absorption not through fresh effort, but through their state of being. Those who are videha, which means beyond body identification, or prakrti laya, merged into nature. And this sutra is not the goal for us. It is a reminder about inner readiness. Inner readiness. So here's the sutra, the 19th sutra from chapter 1, Samadhi Pad. Bhava pratyayo videha prakrti layanam. Once again. Bhava pratyayo videha prakriti layanam. Absorption arises naturally for those who are disembodied, beyond the body identification, or merged into prakriti. So, how is this relevant in today's world? Why does the sutra matter today? We live in a world where the mind is constantly pulled outward. Notifications, pressure, expectation, noise. Even when we rest, we are not truly resting. Even when we sleep, the mind is busy. Maharishi Patanjali reminds us that there are states where the mind settles without force, without technique, without struggle, simply because the inner state is lighter. Stillness becomes easier when we carry less. I'm sure you are going to agree with me on this. When we carry less, we feel lighter, less tension, less identity, less comparison, less noise. Some days your mind feels heavy, some days it feels open. And this sutra helps us recognize that difference without judgment, without pressure. It tells us that readiness is not a performance, it is a state of being. And if I have to give an analogy, I'll give an analogy, especially to those, especially to those who are just sitting with their cup of tea or coffee in their hand right now. So some mornings, your cup of tea or coffee tastes perfect without effort. I'll quickly read H.E. Heba hyphen S8T. You said Sanskrit? Yes. Yog Sutra 1.9 Sanskrit. And the Sanskrit Yog Sutra is how to recite it is, you can do it with me. Bhava pratyayo, bhava pratyayo, videha prakriti layanam. Bhava pratyayo, videha prakriti layanam, which means absorption arises for those who are disembodied or merged into prakriti. Does that answer your question? So here is the analogy. Back to the analogy. Some mornings, your cup of tea or coffee tastes perfect, just perfect, without effort. The temperature is right, the aroma is right, the first sip feels grounding. You didn't do anything special. Your mind was simply ready to receive it. Other mornings, the same drink feels flat or disconnected. Nothing outside changed, only your inner state changed. Well, it has happened to me. It happens to me. If it has happened to you recently, please do write in the comment. And this is bhava pratyaya. Bhava pratyaya. When ease comes not from technique, but from readiness. And why this matters for my practice. This sutra or your practice, this sutra, the 19th sutra of the first chapter, that's Samadhi Pad, invites us to observe. So here is, when does our mind settle easily? Just to observe. When does it feel heavy? When does silence feels natural? And when does it feel far away? Noticing this is part of the practice. And day 19 is not about effort, it is about awareness of the inner readiness, awareness of the inner readiness. So, what are we going to practice today? We are going to notice the mind's natural ease, moving slowly to awaken familiar softness, sitting quietly to observe your state, trusting the body's memory of grounding. So let's begin with our gentle classical movement. Griva Sanchalanam. Griva, the soft roll of the neck. Back and spine straight. I'll take off my glasses. Back and spine straight. Roll your shoulder if you have to, and your chin slightly tucked in. Griva Sanchalanam. And now in the opposite. Slow and steady. We are letting the neck remember the softness. We move on to Skanda Sanchalan. Skand is your shoulder and the movement. Again, let your shoulder remember the release. We do 4. Excellent. Marjorie Bitlasan, or the famously the cat cow. While I'm seated on this chair, if you are sitting on the mat, on the floor, or if you are standing, you can still do the Marjorie Bitlasan. I call it Bidalasan. Well, I've not named it Bidalasan. It is Bidalasan. Basically, how the spine rolls and curves. So it is that, just like how a cat, when it stretches and it curves, it's beautiful to watch. I have watched before. So let's do it. Bring in all around you and look up and release. Excellent. Let's do this one more time. Let's do this one more time. Bring in all and release. Last but not the least is the Vakra Sanchalan. Vakra is the spinal twist, the movement. Let the body remember the space. Let's do it. And to the opposite. And to the opposite. And relax. And we move to our stillness practice. Sthir Sukham Dhyanam, followed by Antarman, and the last, but again not the least, Nabhi Dharan. So let's begin with Sthir Sukham Dhyanam. You can sit at this point of time in your favorite meditative pose, or if you're in a place where you're just standing, that is also okay. It's just that remember, sthir is being in stability, and comfort. So let's do this. Let the body settle into what it already knows. Back and spine straight. Let your breath settle. First, observe your breath. And now let your breath settle. And relax. Antar Mon. Keeping silence inside. As you practice Antar Mon, you will watch your breath rise and fall softly. And remember the gaps in between. Let it be natural. Let's practice. Antar Mon, the silence within. Remember to bring your focus to your navel. Focus on your breath. Inner silence. Come back to your natural rhythm. Nabhi Dharan. Now, for Nabhi Dharan, Nabhi is your navel, which is the anchor, the center of your body. You would stay with your navel, place one hand lightly over your navel. That's your center for grounding. Stay with it. And we will take breaths. First, observe our breaths, and then 3 breath cycle. We would equalize our breath. The number of counts we take in inhalation and equal with the number of counts in exhalation. So, first step, back and spine straight, one hand on your navel. Observe your breath. Stay with your navel. And now breathe in, 2, 3. Breathe out, 2, 3. Breathe in, 2, 3. Breathe out, 2, 3. The last breathe in, 2, 3. Breathe out, 2, 3. Stay with your navel. And come back to your natural rhythm. What we just did is we are also learning diaphragmatic breathing by first observing our breath and then equalizing our breath. equalizing our breath. So today there's a challenge. Of course, you're practicing with me. Challenge has to be there. Today, notice one moment where stillness feels easier than usual. A breath that deepens on its own, a pause that lengthens naturally, or a quiet that isn't forced. So you would notice. That's the challenge, that you would notice one moment where stillness feels easier than usual. In a breath that deepens on its own, a pause that lengthens naturally, or a quiet that doesn't feel forced. But don't cling to it, just recognize it. This is your inner readiness. Day 19 reminds us that stillness is not always created, sometimes it is remembered. Thank you for practicing with me today. We meet tomorrow. Until then, stay warm, stay open, and stay honest to your story.